Hi everyone, Mimsy here. I'm going to show you how to reupholster your dining chair seats. It's a super simple project that anyone can do with a staple gun and a pair of scissors, so let's get started. So the first step to reupholstering your chair seats is to take out the screws on the bottom side of your chair that are holding the seat on. So just grab either a manual screwdriver or an electric drill or a battery powered drill if you have one. Like I did. It makes it really simple and fast. Flip your chair over and make sure you grab a hold of those screws that are in the bottom there. They'll just fall right out. So grab a hold of those before you lose them. And then I just put them back in the top to keep them there until I was ready to refasten those. So that's the first step. Take that chair seat off of the chair. This would be a good time to clean up the chair around there, wipe it off, and get the dust off of there. And then maybe polish that wood. Okay, now we want to take off the dust cover, and if you do this carefully, you could reuse it, but this is just really cheap cambric and I have more of it, so I'm just tearing it off. And I'll throw it away. So you could, if you wanted to be really quick about it, you could possibly go over it, but somebody's already done that. Somebody already went over this. This is the second layer of fabric on here. Actually, no, this is the third layer of fabric on here. Wow. So we really need to take this off because it's getting pretty thick here. If there was only one layer, you could potentially just go right over this. But since there's three and this cushion is so thin, it's gotten so worn down and flattened, the foam is just no good anymore. It really needs more new foam, although I'm not going to replace the foam because these are for myself and I don't want to buy foam. It's expensive. So what I'm going to do is just take off all this fabric and put a new layer of Dacron over the top of this to fluff it up a bit, and then you know, put my fabric on. So the easiest way to do this is either with the flathead screwdriver or one of these awls, is just get under these staples and you know, get in between them and pry them up. It's the easiest way. So that's what you have to do all the way around. And then we got staples left in here. We'll take pliers after we get all this up and pull those out. Okay, so take note that what I'm doing here is I'm actually prying up the fabric. I'm not putting that all underneath each individual staple. I'm putting that all, or my flathead screwdriver, in between the staples and prying up the fabric. And just prying up the fabric is what's pulling out the staples. So it makes it a lot faster than trying to get your awl or your screwdriver underneath each individual staple. Just put it under the fabric and pry that up, and that'll rip the staples out. Okay, so the next step is to put a new layer. I'm going to put a new layer of Dacron over this. This is high loft Dacron that I get from the upholstery supply place. So it's very dense and very high loft. You can use high loft batting from the fabric store, but it won't be nearly as dense as this and won't give you as much lift and as much padding. So this is, if you have an upholstery supply place in your town, this is definitely the way to go, but not completely necessary. Obviously this is not foam, but I'm going to use it anyway because, like I said, I don't want to buy foam for this. These chairs I actually have for sale on Cherish, and in the meantime I'm going to use them for Thanksgiving, so that's why I'm doing this. So I don't want to invest a lot of money into it. So anyway, I'm going to cut my Dacron so that it'll wrap around. I want to make sure, because of this curve here, that you get, you know, you can get around that. And then I will cut it at this angle And then my next one, I'll flip it over and I'll be able to use it for that cut. So there's that. Now let me go turn on my compressor and I will staple this around here. Be right back. Okay, so now I have to figure out what part of this pattern I want to use on these chair seats. So even though the fabric looks like it's completely random, there is a repeat, and generally the repeat on fabric is 27 inches. That's pretty typical. It's not always. You can look at your selvage, and generally on the selvage of a printed fabric there's a repeat marking so that you can see where your pattern repeats. This one doesn't have it because it's woven. The pattern's woven, I think. So anyway, here's one pattern, and if you drag this down again, you'll see there's the repeat. There's the same pattern again, and then again right there. So I think that's the pattern I'm going to use on these chairs. I've got 5 chairs to recover, and this is all the fabric I've got. So I'm going to have to do two the same. Actually, nope, here's another one on this side. So this fabric repeats selvage to selvage also. Sometimes your fabric will have a repeat here, and then the other repeat will be up here. And that's exactly how it is here. So it does repeat that same pattern here. So I will be able to do all 5 of my chairs with the same pattern. You don't have to do it that way. That's generally how the pros do it. They'll repeat the same pattern on every chair seat so they look the same. But if you're short fabric, I've done it many times for my own work on my own furniture where I don't match the patterns because I just don't have enough fabric. But I'll do that here since I've got it. So that's my next step, is to cut this out. Let's see, do I have enough? This pattern may not be exact because I'm going to be tight here, so this one might be a little bit further back than the rest of them, but that's the pattern I'm going to use. So I'll start by cutting that. Okay, now that I have my pattern, my piece of fabric cut, you want to lay it out onto your chair and just, get your pattern centered on your seat, however it is that you want to put it on here. And then hold the fabric on and flip it over. And then you're going to start by putting a staple in the front center, the back center, and each of the sides. So I'll do that. And then you're going to pull it snug, but not too tight, because you don't want to have a line across because it's too tight. Snug that up. Okay, make sure your pattern is still where you want it. It looks good. So then you're going to work out toward the edge. So the corner, this is where I see a lot of people doing some weird stuff. There's a couple different ways you can do the corner. You can just ease around to the corner by kind of just pulling and easing it around the corner so that you don't get any gathering on the front. And that's what I'm going to do. You could also, if your foam is thicker, then you may want to do like a V a V type of a fold there, where you do like a V fold here. That generally works if your foam is real thick. That'll work. But in this situation, you can just ease it around. And that way you really won't get any kind of gathering on the front. It'll be all on the back. So that's what I'll do. So you kind of gather over towards your staples in order to get this part smooth. So see that? And see how that on the front is just nice and smooth. You don't even really, there's no gathers at all visible. Same thing here. Oh, this side I didn't even do this side yet. Oh, ran out of staples right there. Clutch, 1 sec. There. You see how that's nice and smooth all the way around? You can't even see, no gathers, they're all back here. So we're going to ease it. See, that's the front corner, so it's really square there. See how nice and neat that is? Okay, last one. That's it. Nice and tight, smooth, no weird gathering in the corners. Nice and tight. That's it. Now we can trim this up, put a dust cover back on here. You can use cambric for your dust cover, super cheap. You could get creative and use some leftover cotton or whatever you want to put on the bottom. It's fun to have a fun fabric on the bottom. Sometimes I'll do that on my own furniture. So that's it. Okay, that's it, you guys. It's that easy. So get out your staple gun and your screwdriver and start your project. See you next time.